The Avengers Infinity War was a huge hit this past weekend, and I think it's safe to say that Spider-Man was the biggest reason why. Okay, that's probably not true. He was just one of a bunch of great characters drawing people in droves to the theaters. But as a way to honor Peter Parker's involvement in the fight against Thanos, I wanted to take a trip back to one of his most exciting 16-bit adventures. Now is the time to turn away if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're going to be spoiling the story and ending for The Amazing Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin on Sega CD. This is Game Over, the early years. Okay, so in order for this to work, you're probably going to want to forget about the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man that's currently in the MCU. In fact, you might as well forget about Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, too. The Spider-Man in this Sega CD is a little older and married to Mary Jane, who is now a successful actress on a hit TV show called Secret Hospital. Here's an example of their fiery chemistry.
Mary Jane.
Hi, Tiger.
Hi, honey. What's up?
I was just on my way to the studio to tape today's episode of Secret Hospital. Thought I'd stop by and get a kiss. If you're not too busy, of course.
Now there's something I'm never too busy for.
That ought to keep me happy until dinner. See you then?
Yep. See you tonight.
Peter seems almost befuddled by the kiss, but maybe he knows that it's just a matter of time before he'll need to spring into action. Here's how the game introduces us to Spider-Man.
When trouble arises, as it does so often, Peter Parker is no longer just an ordinary newspaper photographer, but something else entirely. Something with the strength, endurance, and power of...
Looks like it's time to call on your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Our first mission is a simple one, but it's also a perfect representation of Spider-Man's daily grind. There's an old woman on the street who's being mugged, and it's a good thing that Spidey shows up just in time. This is a clear example of Spider-Man being a true hero for the city, and both the old woman and the policeman who shows up later agree. But there's a new villain on the scene that nobody saw coming, and its name is Fake News.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled broadcast to present this special emergency report from Wilson Fisk, a concerned citizen and one of our city's leading businessmen. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Fisk.
Kingpin.
What do you suppose he's up to now?
Whatever it is, it's bound to be bad news for New York. And for Spider-Man.
Fellow citizens of New York, it is my painful duty to make you aware that a monstrous crime has been perpetrated against us by a man we thought was our ally. It has come to my attention that Spider-Man has turned renegade against the forces of law and order.
Hey, that was back when Jonah had everyone convinced I was a crook. And I didn't hurt those cops.
He is perpetrating one monstrous crime after another, all across our city.
But I never did that.
Oh, my poor doggy.
And now he has devised the most ghastly crime of his career. He has planted a bomb that will explode in exactly 24 hours, destroying the entire city.
I certainly never did that.
I am offering a reward of $500,000 for Spider-Man's capture, in hopes that he can be forced to reveal the location of the bomb before it is too late. We must protect ourselves from the super criminal Spider-Man.
Peter, what are you going to do?
If there's really a bomb, it'll be Kingpin's doing. I'll have to find it and disarm it in the next 24 hours.
But the police are going to think you're the criminal.
Don't worry about that, Mary Jane. The police know I'm on their side.
Of course, Peter is naive to believe that the New York City Police Department wouldn't immediately turn on him. Mere seconds after WMRV allowed Wilson Fisk to run his propaganda, the NYPD put out an APB for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. If Spidey's gonna clear his name, he's gonna have to do it by himself. This intriguing setup leads him to the Union Terminal Freight Station, which is where Dr. Otto Octavius is up to no good. In true video game fashion, this leads to a tense hand-to-hand fight between Spidey and Doc Ock. The plan is to get the former nuclear physicist to spill the beans on Kingpin's plan. And I'd say that Peter gets more than he bargained for.
You've been disarmed, Doc. Why don't you come clean and tell me what the Kingpin is up to this time? Is there really a bomb planted somewhere?
Yes, you arachnoid moron, for all the good it'll do you. Kingpin's fixed it so you'll never be able to disarm it either. It takes 5 keys to stop the bomb's internal clock, and they have to be inserted in the proper order, or the whole thing goes boom.
I don't get it. Why would the Kingpin want to blow up his own city?
This isn't about one measly city bug breath. It's about world domination and getting rid of you once and for all. We'll be safe when it happens, never you fear.
Tell me where to find the keys or I'll cut you up for calamari.
I don't know where all of them are, but you might try looking in Central Park for one of them. And if you want another, you'll have to go to the sewer and take it away from the lizard.
You're using Kurt Connor's affliction as a tool to defeat me? Hasn't that poor man suffered enough?
I find Connors to be very useful, and I don't think you'll be quite as sympathetic after he beats you to a bloody pulp.
Why don't you, stick tight for a while, Doc? The police will be by after I call them and tell them where to find you. Meanwhile, I've got some keys to find.
Thanks to Dr. Octopus laying out the entire plan, Spider-Man swings over to the Battery Park power station to locate the first key. What he finds instead are a bunch of gun-wielding thugs and these weird electric bug things. I suppose that makes sense, because he also comes face to face with Electro, who somehow manages to chew even more scenery than Jamie Foxx. Here's a clip of the guy pretending he's never seen a key before.
Well, Electro, it looks like your circuit has come up a little short. And I thought you were such a live wire.
Laugh while you can, bug brain. The Kingpin has you right where he wants you this time.
Well, now, what's this?
How should I know? I've never seen it before.
Right. Well, I'll just hang on to it if you don't mind. I'm sure it'll come in handy. You just relax, Sparky, and don't blow a fuse. There'll be someone along to cut you loose any time now.
Why don't you relax, Spider-Man? Take some time off. Get away from it all. I know the perfect place. Coney Island.
Sounds like a plan. Can I bring you back a hot dog?
I'd say yes, but you won't be coming back.
Is that any way to talk to your old pal? You know me. I always show up when you least expect me.
Now that Spidey has his first key, he hops on the subway to make his way uptown. This proves to be a lot more dangerous than he initially expected, as Kingpin's thugs are waiting for him. And they're not only in the subway car, but also on top, just in case Spider-Man tries any of his usual tricks. This all leads to a fight with the Vulture, but watch out, Spidey, because it's a trap. Our hero is caught in a cloud of sleeping gas, which leads to, well, maybe we should just let Mysterio explain the predicament Spider-Man finds himself in.
What a ride. Are we at Coney Island yet? And how did I get here?
Welcome to Mr. World, Spider-Man. I've created my own carnival of illusions deep beneath Coney Island. And I wanted you to be my first customer.
What is this place? Thanks, Bubblehead. But if it's all the same to you, I'll just take the key and go.
Go? Where? You're only 2 inches tall, Spider-Man. No. If you're going to be squashed like the bug you are, I'll be the one doing the squashing. Let the fun begin.
That's right, a tiny Spider-Man is stuck in a pinball table. This is the first genuinely exciting surprise in the game, even if it's short-lived. So we bang around the level for a while and are eventually spit out right in front of the police station. And wouldn't you know it, the cops are there to haul Spidey off to jail. But don't worry, because even with round-the-clock security, our hero is able to escape without much fuss. Now that he's free, it's time for Spider-Man to head across the bridge and take down Mysterio before he gets trapped in another pinball game. This is a trippy stage full of weird objects to dodge and heavy distortion over the screen. But as disorienting as it is, the stage ultimately ends with a pretty standard hand-to-hand fight with Mysterio. The two masked fighters duke it out, only for Spider-Man to realize that he may have been outsmarted.
It's no mystery that you're finished, Mysterio. Why don't you admit defeat and hand over the key?
The key? You could have had the key long ago, Spider-Man. If you were half as smart as you think you are.
What are you talking about, Bubble Brain? I didn't see any key.
My point exactly. The key was there, but you didn't see it. If you want it, you're going to have to go back in there for it.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do while I'm gone, Bubbles. And give my regards to the police.
Spider-Man is now forced to go back through the stage and find the key, which means that he only has 3 left to go. This sends him to Central Park, which is where Doc Ock said he might find the next key. He wasn't wrong, but I can't help but notice that he left out the part about Sandman teaming up with a giant gorilla to kick Spidey's ass. An occupational hazard, I suppose. With Sandman and his gorilla out of the way, Spider-Man finds the key and hops into the sewers to locate his friend Kurt Connors, who sometimes transforms into the Lizard. This is one of those times where the game hopes you've been following the comics, because they spend absolutely no time introducing or explaining Kurt. Without context, this clip doesn't make much sense.
I'm sorry, Kurt. I know you can't help the awful chemical reaction that keeps turning you into the Lizard, and you can't help what you do when you transform, but I had to stop you. Kurt, are you okay?
Oh, where am I? What am I doing here? Spider-Man, what's going on?
It's a long story, Kurt. You might say I ran into you while I was looking for something down here. A key.
Could this be the key?
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I never saw it before. Well, here, you take it.
Thanks, Kurt. This will help me clobber the Kingpin.
What's happening to me?
Oh no! He's the Lizard again! Sorry, Kurt. It looks like I'm going to have to take you out again. If I can.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special announcement from Wilson Fisk.
Time is running out for New York. Spider-Man, that enemy of all that is lawful and good in our city, has still not been apprehended. I am increasing the reward for his capture to $1 million in hopes that he will be apprehended before it is too late. Anyone having any information concerning his whereabouts should contact me at the Fisk Building in Midtown Manhattan. Spider-Man must be brought to justice.
Gee, that guy's convincing. If I didn't know better, I'd be out looking for me. I better find that bomb before somebody takes advantage of Kingpin's offer to become an instant millionaire.
Now, before we get back to the story, I want to bring up how ridiculous this plot is. The whole thing seems to hinge on Wilson Fisk stirring up anger by getting the local news to spread propaganda. I mean, I can see a TV network running with the story, but why is Wilson Fisk taking over for the news anchors? Is WMRV owned by Sinclair? This seems incredibly unprofessional. Also, why do the cops believe what they see on TV? Some of those doctored clips even had the police in them, so shouldn't they just ask the cops what happened? Or interview the old lady that was mugged? Or really just do any kind of actual police work? Jake Peralta would have cracked this case in 21 minutes flat, and that's with jokes.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a special bulletin. Mary Jane Watson Parker, well-known star of the popular daytime drama Secret Hospital, has been kidnapped by Spider-Man. The fugitive supervillain has sent a note to Wilson Fisk at the Fisk Building in Midtown Manhattan, threatening to kill Miss Parker unless all attempts to capture him are called off immediately. We'll be bringing you more on this situation as it develops.
Mary Jane kidnapped? This has to be more of Kingpin's doing. Well, he's gone too far this time. I won't rest until she's safe, and until I see Kingpin behind bars.
Okay, so things just got serious. Forget about Wilson Fisk showing up on TV because Mary Jane has been kidnapped. It's time for Spider-Man to buckle down and find the rest of the keys. I suppose that's what leads him to the Chrysler Building, where he'll deal with angry New Yorkers throwing stuff at him and snipers hanging out on the roof. He'll eventually swing his way into a fight with the Hobgoblin, who has one of the more predictable patterns. He also gives us a hint to our next location.
When will you supervillains ever learn? You could have saved yourself a lot of bruises by just handing it over, Hobgoblin.
Is this what you came for, Spider-Man? You're wasting precious time, fool. If you want the key, you can fight him for it.
Well, nobody ever said being a hero would be easy.
Oh! The second to last key was right there in our hands, but Venom came and snatched it away. That guy's the worst. So this sends Spider-Man over to St. Bartholomew's Cathedral to get the key back. This leads to one of the most irritating fights in the entire game. Not because it's hard, but rather because of those damn church bells ringing. If you can put up with that, you'll be able to kick Venom's ass, and then get this clip of Eddie Brock wrestling with his alter ego.
What are you doing to me? Just trying to ring your chimes, tall, dark, and toxic. Leave it to me to poison your chances, eh, Venom? I don't think you'll be needing this anymore. Don't count me out yet, Spider-Man! I don't need spider sense to tell me I haven't seen the last of him.
Venom may have gotten away, but at least Spider-Man has the second to last key. Again. All this leaves is a quick trip to the Kingpin's secret underground lair on Morton Street. This is the point where Spider-Man is once again forced to go up against all of the supervillains he already defeated. And if that wasn't enough, all of the bosses end up teaming up and attacking our hero all at once. It all leads to a dramatic fight with the Kingpin, with Mary Jane being lowered into a vat of burning chemicals. Now here's something you may not know. The Amazing Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin has 3 possible endings, 2 bad and 1 good. We'll start with what happens if Spidey isn't in time to save Mary Jane.
Mary Jane! Spider-Man!
What's going on here?
Kingpin's your man. His bomb is in the other room. I disarmed it with keys I took from his henchmen.
You're under arrest, Mr. Kingpin.
We're sorry for thinking this was your doing, Spider-Man.
You're wasting these officers' time, Spider-Man. My lawyers will have me out by dinner time. Oh, and it's a shame about the young woman, isn't it? Goodbye, Spider-Man. We'll meet again, I'm sure.
You'll pay for this, Kingpin! I swear you'll pay!
Now, here's what happens if the Kingpin manages to gain the upper hand and defeat Spider-Man.
Looks like you've crawled your last wall, Spider-Man. It was bound to come to this someday. What a lovely couple you make. A shame I didn't bring my camera, but I'll always remember you just like this. Goodbye, Spider-Man. I'm going to miss outsmarting
you. Yeesh, and here I was thinking that Infinity War had a dark ending. That's not the way you want to see Mary Jane and Peter go out. She hadn't even started her movie career yet. Anyway, enough with the sadness. Let's go ahead and use the Time Stone to go back and see what happens if everything works out like it should.
Mary Jane is unconscious, but she'll be okay. Once the cops dispose of Kingpin, I'll get her out of this place. There's your real criminal, officers. You'll find his bomb in the other room, disarmed with the keys I took from his henchmen.
We have a lot to thank you for, Spider-Man.
And a lot to be ashamed of. To think we believed you were the bad guy.
Mistakes happen, guys. The important thing is, we're all on the same team.
This is all very touching, but you're wasting these officers' time, Spider-Man. My lawyers will have me out by dinner time.
Justice is never a waste of time, Kingpin.
Hi, Tiger. I knew you'd show up in time.
Well, I didn't want to be late for dinner.
After all these years, Spider-Man's finally gonna be behind bars, where he belongs.
You know, maybe you shouldn't have been in such a hurry to print that headline, Jonah. We don't have all the facts yet.
Mr. Jameson, the City Death said to hold that special edition and reprint the front page. Spider-Man's innocent.
What? No! He can't be! Oh, he's fooled them again!
So I have to say, this is a slick production. The game is kinda bland and the story could make a little more sense, but the cinemas are cool and the voice acting, while bad, seem appropriately hammy. This is probably my favorite Spider-Man ending, and I like how much ground it covers. We see the Kingpin defeated, Mary Jane saved, the police apologize, and best of all, J. Jonah Jameson is forced to make a dramatic change to the front cover of the Daily Bugle. And as far as I'm concerned, any ending where you ruin J. Jonah Jameson's day is a good ending. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Game Over, The Early Years. So here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite Spider-Man game? I know everybody's excited for the new Spidey game on the PS4, but he's had a lot of really good games in the past, both 2D and 3D. Let me hear your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back tomorrow with a look at Bullet Witch, followed by a video where I talk about Fortnite. But don't worry, it's not what you think. I'm also working on a bunch of reviews, so I strongly recommend you click on that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.